Welcome everyone to the GeekyAnts Podcast. Today we have something very exciting to talk about. We are going to be talk about branding in terms of product design from a product designer's perspective. We have Krupali with us. She is a senior product designer at GeekyAnts. She's worked on multiple projects. And thank you, Krupali, for joining us today.
Thank you, Pan.
Fantastic. Krupali, for some reason, 2025 has been rebranding continuously, right? You have had Jaguar who rebranded very later in 2024. OpenAI just launched its rebrand. You said it's a refresh when we spoke last time. Geo Hotstar, I was very surprised when I saw that logo change on my app. I was shocked. I thought it was some Captain Marvel promotion for some reason.
Yeah.
So what's happening? Why is this sudden surge of rebrand happening? What's going on?
Yeah. Even I tried to, search on that. I did check what this brand are doing and why they are changing their brand and like suddenly.
Yeah.
Like the Jaguar rebranding was quite a surprise for me. So when I checked the data about it, I realized that why they had changes that because their entire market was going down
Okay.
and they wanted a refresh. They also wanted to introduce the electric cars. So that was one of the reasons for them to, do rebranding. I also checked few other videos as well, why people are doing rebranding. Most of the cases, it's about their, entire companies going downfall. So that is the major problem.
Okay.
And sometimes people, they think that their entire perspective, they want to change. They want to give more, benefits to users. And they want to show it through the brand. That's why also they do branding.
Okay.
So yeah, that could be like a lot of reasons. This is what I got it from like my search.
What are your thoughts on the current OpenAI update, right? They just updated their typeface, they updated their logo. What's your thought on that?
Yeah, I loved it. Like I loved
Okay.
the refresh.
Okay.
And a lot of people, as I said, a lot of people are saying that it's a rebranding, but it's not rebranding, it's refresh. Even in their video, they have said refresh, not
Okay.
rebranding. So they are not changing entirely. They are changing few things here and there. Like they change the font. They change how they look as a brand. Their design principles, they have changed.
Okay.
And they also have, I think, give colors to their different platforms. So this is a refresh, not like rebranding. Rebranding is something that you are entirely changing something.
Something that happened with Jaguar, for
Yeah,
example.
yeah.
Right. Okay.
But here is like a refresh. They are changing few things here and there, which is good for a company because you can't change things here and there. You can change things here and there, but you can't change entirely every now and then. It's not good for like user experience.
Great.
And even from a business perspective. So as a product designer, if like brand team, if they are changing things here and there very frequently, it's not good for product designers as well because they also have to change their entire process, how they thought about, entire product when they were designing based on the brand. Now they again think about how the, branding is there. And then again, they have to, change the entire product design or the user experience as well.
Correct.
So, which is not something like great. For example, if initially the brand perspective is like to give user trust or something like that, and if they change it to make it like very fancy and gency or trending sort of, vibe, then it's not good for a product because then in that time when a product designer is designing it, they might have thought about how this, the entire product would look minimal, the minimalistic, design would be there. But then if are changing in the trending way, trending colors and vibes, I think then they again entirely have to change. It's like too much of costing for like a business as well, not good for like business. But if they think that they really want entire like rebranding, then can do it like Jaguar has done.
Jaguar has done.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. So you mentioned product design, rebrand, and the difference between refresh and rebrand, right? For example, let's say a potential client of us is coming to us for advice or consultancy on what should they do. Should they rebrand completely or should they refresh? Let's say they already have a product. Just in case of OpenAI, right?
Yeah.
They already have their OpenAI product, right? Their chatbot, ChatGPT, right? So how do you make the decision? Do I do a rebrand or do I do a refresh?
Yeah. So when any clients comes to us, any client come to us, we usually ask them questions about what they are thinking about brand, whether they are changing the entire perspective about the company. For example, if it's a not automation, but if someone is coming like, okay, this is what we had initially, but now we want to change the entire brand based on maybe different perspective.
Yeah.
If the perspective is changing, then I feel that the rebranding is required. But if some things here and there they are changing, then it's fine. Like
A refresh is
it's
enough.
Yeah, if they want to change like typeface, then it's fine. But if they are changing the entire brand perspective, then they have to change.
Execution-wise, what's obviously the rebrand is going to be difficult, right?
Yeah.
So when you're creating a product, let's say a brand just refreshed its entire typeface, logo, how it appears. What affects the product? What affects, let's say we have a web app or a mobile app. What are the things that get immediately affected by a refresh of the brand?
Yeah. So usually if you have heard about the design system, right? So we create design system for the entire product. So in that we have colors, we have typography, we have everything added in the design system. So it's very easier for us to use design system. So anytime any client comes to us and they say that, okay, now I don't want this typeface, but this typeface I want, it's easier for us to just immediately change typeface. Like we do have our GlueStack product, right? So GlueStack has that ability to change the typeface through the plugin as well. So it doesn't make a lot of difference. Only if your typeface initially is like maybe in bigger in size and now your typeface is like in a very different way, then it might affect how you're showing the content. But apart from that, it won't make a lot of difference if you're using design system. Okay. But if you are not using it, then of course the entire product design you have to.
What are the challenges that, let's say, a client or any company comes and thinks that they don't have a design system yet, but they're doing a refresh, they have a product already. What are the challenges that they will face?
They would have to spend a lot of time in that.
What's the approximate difference between having a design system, not having a design system? What's the difference between the?
A huge difference. So maybe if you have a design system, maybe it might take like 1 or 2 days to just change the typeface and just look into how everything is looking.
Okay.
Some things here and there you might have to change, but not much. But entirely if you're changing, depends on your product size. Like number of screens you have might take like 10 days, more than that maybe.
Okay. So fantastic. So a product, let's say, is very much dependent on the branding, the logo, the colors, the typeface, right? But when people say branding, they usually go for the graphic route, right? The logos, how it appears visually, because that's what they interact with. For a product designer, what does branding mean to you?
Yeah. So for example, if you are giving free coupon or something like that, or if you are giving additional points to something, if you are purchasing something, you are giving points to the user, something like that. For example, e-commerce, right?
Yeah.
And you do get coins or something like that, right? If this branding, so you have to create the screens in a way that it also gives that kind of same experience or the same vibe to the user. So if you are saying that your brand perspective is that giving trust to people, you also have to, like as a product designer, I also have to create in a way that the user also get to know us that, okay, this is something they are providing. This is something,
through every interaction.
Yeah.
Okay.
You are giving trust to users. So you should not hide things here and there. And you are telling them, okay, this is what, you have to be very transparent with the users, what you are doing in behind the scenes and all. So that kind of changes you want to give to the
So
users.
when you say users, right? There are various types of users. You have apps that are customer facing. You have apps that you use for internal purposes. For example, let's say a factory wants to design an application for their internal workers, let's say a dashboard for automation. How does that perspective change from what a user is using in the world, like a customer facing wide more wider user base? How does that design perspective change in both of them?
Yeah, I think it's same only because at
Yeah.
the end, those are also your users only, right?
Correct.
If they are not able to use your product correctly, then again, it's a fail for you, right? You need to consider both the users. I don't think there is a difference as such. So it will impact both
Okay.
of them.
Okay, coming back to OpenAI, you've looked at the refresh, not rebrand. So you've looked at the refresh. What do you suggest went right, and what do you suggest could have been done better? What's your thoughts on that?
I actually liked it. I'm not sure what exactly they were thinking by doing the refresh, but I liked how they have created the typography, their own typography.
Okay.
How they have thought about every single thing like colors, typography. They have also added tone. If you have seen the video, like how they are also thinking about how it sounds, like your brand sounds, right? Which is very interesting. I haven't seen something like that. Which is great. I'm not sure what they should improve. I don't think so. I mean, it depends what they want.
Is it like is it something, a reaction to catch attention after the entire DeepSeek thing that happened?
Yeah, maybe. Maybe.
Okay.
And I also heard that so they have like team of 10 people in the OpenAI of designers. But this rebranding they have done with other agency as well.
Another agency,
Yeah,
other
it's called ABC, something like that. I'm not sure. This is a news I have seen. So they have worked with them, and by they had collaborated with those agencies. So they are collaborating for rebranding with ABC. They are collaborating for like animations with other agencies. So they are doing in that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you predict any immediate changes to the ChatGPT interface that we're using currently right now?
No. I mean, if you are not in this field, if I ask my friend who are not in this field, they won't be able to understand that, okay, they have changed the typography or done something like that. Yeah. Unless major change, they won't be able to understand for sure.
Okay.
Which is great.
Okay. Let's talk about something that I don't know. Like for me, it did not go the right way, right? The Disney Hotstar thing that happened. First of all, what are your thoughts on it? And do you feel like they did something well? Is there something that, because to a layman, I've spoken to a few people, and they just cannot understand what happened, because even when you go inside the app, the gradient, how the entire functionality looks, it just feels something's off. What are your thoughts as a product designer?
When I saw the logo, what I thought, they have just mixed two brands' colors.
Okay.
In the gradient, if you see, there is a pink and a blue, and so they just mix Geo and Hotstar's colors. I thought that. And I have also observed that maybe this is a stunt they have done to get the attention from the users. It could be in that way. It's kind of a marketing. Maybe they might do again the rebranding later.
Isn't that too much of a risk to do a stunt to your entire brand?
Yeah, it's a too much risk. So actually, that kind of risk, Gap had also done it. I mean, few years back.
Okay.
So they had also changed the entire branding, their logo and colors, and their everything they had changed. And there was a lot of backlashes from the people, and their market went down. So what they had done, they had to revert back everything they had done, and then they just went with whatever they had. So it's a very risky thing, but I think maybe Jio and these companies are very huge in Indian market, so I don't think it will impact a lot because they don't have other options as such. So it's okay for them. But companies who are in e-commerce, it's a very risky thing for them.
Let's talk about companies. Since you mentioned the size of companies matter in this case, it's very important, because for even a refresh of a product, right? it's still a considerable investment of time. You need designers, you need product designers, you need developers to implement those changes. It's huge resources, right? So for somebody who is, let's say, just got their funding and they have just an MVP ready, and should their MVP take the refresh route or the rebrand route? What would you advise? You said perspective is something that you would check. Anything other than perspective that they should consider when doing the refresh or rebrand?
If they're starting out, I think they have to like set up a brand only, right?
Okay.
So of course they would need some. They have to add some of the thoughts about why they are doing it, what they want to provide to the users. I would advise to go with the design system initially itself.
From the start itself.
Yeah, from the start itself. So you will save a lot of time and money later.
Okay.
You might, it might take some time, but it will be very helpful to you if you like do it later. Like if you want to change anything, you can easily do that.
It applies to the entire development cycle also, right?
Yeah,
exactly. Because even if you change a button on the design system, and I think we have a process where one button change on the design just completely goes to the development process. Interesting. When considering a refresh, what are the key things that a company should keep in mind? What are the things that they should consider? Because oftentimes a mistake gets made, right? They just feel, oh, it's a logo change. I just need to update logo on social media or anywhere. It just needs a good blog to go out. But that by default affects every product that you have, especially if you have multiple products like Google.
Yeah.
For example, if Google decided to do a refresh, which happened with the login screen, I think last year itself, right? You had the login screen in the center. Now you have it on the side. I got very, I got used to it very recently only. It took me a while to get used to because initially, right, from a user perspective, you had what you needed to enter on the middle of the screen. And you look at the middle of the screen. My eyes never go to the right side of the screen, right? So for me, it took a while. Now that's across Google products, right? That entire system that they did, even the redesign of their entire logos, right? The Gmail logo. Now it's all green and yellow. And so I have a cluster in my app. When you open it, I have that Google Suite cluster, right? When you open it, every logo seems same for me. And there was times when I was opening calendar and Meet like very frequently, right? Because it is very easy to get interchange. I think they made some changes. It's now much more easier. But yeah, so there are certain things where if you have an ecosystem of product, it affects your entire product system, right? So what are the things that a brand should keep in mind when doing a rebrand or a refresh?
Yeah, I would suggest go with very small changes here and there, not too much. If you are saying, right, they changed the layout itself.
Yeah.
And instead of layout, maybe they could have reduced few things here and there that could have helped them, but not changing the entire flow. It's not a good option. Maybe change few things. Like if you have like 4 steps and you are reducing in 3 steps with your proper like branding and all, it's fine. But you can't change the entire flow and the branding itself. It's not a good practice.
Okay, great. What's your favorite product at the moment in terms of just how they're doing their brand, how the user flow is happening, the entire, end-to-end experience of things? What's your favorite product at the moment?
Now though I'm using OpenAI a lot.
Okay.
Which is great. Like I'm using actually the subscription model. It's very helpful. Actually, my sister is also doing PhD, so we both use the advanced features as well. I loved it, like how simple it is. Even sometimes my nephew, he uses the OpenAI chat as well.
Okay.
He just randomly asks for his assignments and all. It's so easy, like anyone can use it.
Do you feel like that's an important aspect of a product? So should it be like very exclusive? For example, like VS Code, right? No one other than a developer can then access it, right? Even Figma for that matter, right? Figma is very intimidating for a non-designer to use. Canva, on the other hand, is different.
Yeah, very
Canva, but if you drill down to it, some people will, get triggered when I say this, but Canva is for the masses, but Figma is for the designers, right? In general. So what's the gap? Like, should a product be exclusive? When should a product decide to be very exclusive? When should a product decide to be very, very open to everybody?
Yeah, it against like the Figma, the kind of features they are providing is also reflecting on the development side, right? So there are a lot of people connected with one ecosystem, right? Wherein OpenAI is not something like you don't have, there is nothing happening in the backend as such. Or if I'm writing something, my sister or you are not going to
Look at it.
Look at it. It's for me only, right? Not for other people. It's not, I can share and we can collaborate something sort of a platform. So for that, I don't think so. They have to be very exclusive. If something like this, like Figma or maybe VS Code, we are collaborating and doing everything, right? So which is fine to be exclusive. I don't mind.
And a more collaborative environment needs to be a little more exclusive in general.
Yeah, and maybe if you think that few features which anyone can use it, you can keep it as a free tool or give a free subscription. But if you want a specific feature for specific people, that you can do it. Like for OpenAI also, there are a few features which I think researchers could be can use it, but not like people are like us who are not doing too much like deep research. It's for us, it's fine. But if they are doing deep research and all, then they would need it.
Okay, very interesting. I think more or less the last question. There's a new, since you mentioned OpenAI, just struck me. There is a feature in OpenAI right now that when you click on it, they open another window, and when you ask something, they open another window and there's an option answer in chat on the left hand side. Not sure if you've seen this.
No.
But so now what they're doing is they have a feature where you click on it, it does not answer in the chat. Let's say when, for example, we use OpenAI to generate a lot of longer pieces of content, right? Researched content. What are your thoughts? Summarize this, for example. The summary comes in another window.
Oh, okay. It's not coming.
It's not, okay. So it's coming on another window in general, right? 4.0. So what do you think? Like, should that, so now just opening something on another window, is that a good user experience for somebody, or should sometimes, it should stay in the same window? That transition of flow, what's your thoughts on that?
It depends like how you want to use it. I think they might be doing it for just to check whether people are liking or not. Sometimes they do take this kind of risk. I have seen companies taking this kind of risk that they upload a feature and then they check whether people are liking it or not.
We're practically lab testers.
Yeah. And then if they think that, okay, people are not liking it, because usually users, they do post on, like I have seen Twitter and all, they do post about these things, right? So then they make changes according to that. But it depends on your how's your use case.
How often should a company take user feedback?
Every time.
Like, but you can't do it like every month or every 5 days or 10 days, right? For me, cult pass, right? Every time I open my cult pass when I work out in the morning, like when I want to start my workout in the morning, they give me a survey.
Oh, okay.
Now at that moment when I'm pressed for time and they give me a survey, I think that's a bad user experience, to be honest. But when they give me a survey, it's right there in the moment that, when you work out at this point of time till date, right? So at that condition, when do you think is the right time? For me, because that it throws me off at that moment. I also cannot go back until I fill the entire survey. So when do you think is the right time to collect a feedback? What should it consider when you're collecting feedback on your product?
Yeah. Even I have used the Cult app. Even I'm getting those.
That's long feedback.
But it's, I think, not with Cult. It's with, I think, even Uber and others, Swiggy and all those people are giving us the feedback.
But they give it like very randomly, right? You have an option to go back. Cult does not allow you to.
Yeah, this is not a right user experience. You should give a user a chance to just skip it and just do it later.
Okay.
It's not a good user experience.
So asking feedback, how often should you, what is your suggestion? Like a time duration, how often should you ask a feedback?
If I am publishing a very new feature, like entirely new, then of course I would have done some user testing before even publishing those features. So that might I have done it with the internal team, although we might have the user research process. So we do it with users, actual users, not with all of them, but few of them. It's a process that you have to follow. So if a new feature, you might have already done that feedback, and then you might ask those people that, okay, how is your experience? We have included this new thing, right? Not immediately, maybe after some time you can take that feedback. And that's fine. But if for example, if Uber and Swiggy, those features are already there, like,
they do it regularly.
They do it regularly. Maybe since it's that app requires us to use it mostly every day. Like I use Instamart every alternate day. They would also like to know what are our experiences if you're using regularly. If you're not using that app regularly, then it's fine. You take it like in a month or 2 month span. But if you're doing regularly, then it's fine to ask user feedback.
Okay. So I'm also guessing that the moment you do a brand refresh or a rebrand, you need more frequent feedback from your users.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
And also you can check on Twitter as well. Like a lot of people are like giving their feedback. I have seen even Elon Musk, he has posted on like Jaguar's post that he was asking that, okay, where is the car in your entire brand video, like rebrand video? Because in their video, that is
no mention of
like,
car.
They haven't mentioned anything as such. They were just models and they were walking, and also even he had replied to that post.
Why do you think that happens? Is it so in general, do you feel like in terms of products, in terms of companies rebranding or refreshing in general, sometimes you also feel, right, that there's something off?
Yeah.
Why do you feel like companies take that risk?
Maybe that, of course, they might have thought, because Jaguar is a very big company, like it has since like ages. They have thought about it. I tried to research more on Jaguar, but they haven't mentioned anything. Even in fact, they have removed all the posts from like Instagram, from Twitter. They have deleted all the tweets. So just want to restart. They don't want to just go back and remember those things like old days. They just want a refresh, a rebrand only.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
Yeah, even for me, it's very interesting because they haven't mentioned anything about the car, but maybe slowly they are giving us some snippets of like what their cars are looking. I think I've seen they are posting about the cars, but maybe their starting point was not, their intention was not to show like in the first phase itself.
Okay. So final question. In terms of rebranding or refreshing, right? If you're an enterprise and if you're a startup, what are there different approaches or the approach same?
Depends. Again, if you think that your brand would impact, like your branding would impact the users, then go with it. If you think that you don't have money right now, you don't have fund, and you think that you can't afford paying this much for the branding, don't do it.
It's better to play it safe.
Yeah, play it safe. Yeah.
Okay.
But if it's really required, as I said, big companies, they do take risks, because they do have like fund and everything. They do take risks. But I would not advise small companies to just immediately take those risks.
So like you said, push out smaller updates, smaller feature updates, and see what users are using. Okay. Fantastic. Yeah. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
That's all for today, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I hope you like this episode. Do like, comment, and tell us what you think. And as always, do subscribe so that you're immediately notified of any new episodes. Thank you. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye.